So today is the birthday of a very special man, Christopher Eccleston, who played the 9th Doctor. It's his birthday today. He's 62. What? What do you mean he's 62? I had no idea. I've got his sonic screwdriver here because I'm showing off all my old sonic screwdrivers that I found in a box. It doesn't work because it's about 15 years old, but I've still got it. I've got a working one there actually, but I can't bother to go and get it. So yeah, we'll have to just deal with the broken one for now. But I want to talk about Christopher Eccleston. I want to talk about his time on Doctor Who because I genuinely believe that it is the only perfect series of Doctor Who. Like every single episode of Series 1 is an essential viewing to the whole series. If you go into the finale without watching what's come before, it won't make sense. Well, it'll make sense, but it won't make enough sense. You won't get the full picture. And there's a lot of Doctor Who series now where that's not present. Now every episode is sort of different, and there's an ongoing theme, and that's it. I miss when Doctor Who literally was just every episode teaches you something new about our characters, or about what the TARDIS can do, about what the Doctor's life's like, about what the overarching story, or returning villain, or stuff like that. I just think it's really cool. Ignore me whilst I take a sip of coffee. Hold on. Cheers to the Mandem. So I want to talk about how he's my Doctor, right? Him and Capaldi are my joint two, but they're very different, so I sort of just count them as my joint one, because they are just so different in the way they act. And Chris captures I suppose they are quite similar actually, because Chris really does a good job of putting on the brave face for the Doctor that's literally just come fresh out of the Time War, or was intended to be fresh out of the Time War when it aired. And he was still labelled as like the cool Doctor. Think of if you've seen Sherlock on BBC by Stephen Moffat and Mark Gatiss. Sherlock was originally a Victorian man, and they reimagined Sherlock in the 2010s with mobile phones and all this stuff. There's modern day cabs and all that. And Doctor Who very much tried to do this in 2005. If you look at 2005, it felt very 2005, which is why I love watching it now. It's very, very nostalgic. If I watch Series 10, which is my second favourite series of Doctor Who with Capaldi, that doesn't feel 2017, because if Series 10 was released now for the first time, I'd think it was shot now. But 2005 Doctor Who Series 1 feels 2005. It feels so mid-2000s, like it's mental to me how well they captured it. And not just in like Chris's outfit with his leather jacket, which the Doctor before, I mean David Tennant sort of went back on this, but the Doctor was famous for having a big long coat, and Chris didn't have that. He just had a leather jacket and he was dressed like a bloke from 2005, which was why I think it worked so well. And even something like Cardiff, taking it out of like stereotypically Doctor Who back in the day was mainly on space stations, which I suppose this series did, but it was on cheap looking space stations, or it was in fields or quarries. And this series just sort of was mainly focused on Earth. The whole series revolved around Earth, which is why it felt so grounded. The series, we weren't on Earth every episode, but if we weren't on Earth, we were on a space station that was above Earth. We were never on a new planet. And that's why, to me, I love it so much, because it feels grounded. Doctor Who, to me, I'm not a sci-fi fan. I don't like Star Wars. I don't like Star Trek. I don't like any of the other sci-fi stuff. I can't even name them. The reason I love Doctor Who is because of the character work and the morals that the Doctor has. And Christopher Eccleston especially sold me on that. When I went back to watch Doctor Who for the first time since I quit watching it like 8 years ago, it was about three years ago now, I went and watched Doctor Who again for the first time in years, and I started with Eccleston, and he genuinely, the way his morals are, completely changed me as a person. And I owe him so many thanks for that. Obviously Russell T Davies wrote it, but Eccleston's portrayal, like in the finale when he's like coward or killer, that whole scene really changed the way I view things, and it makes me want to be more like the Doctor, which is what Doctor Who should do, and the Doctor's morals are really important when it comes to that. And talking about that finale, the regeneration is probably my favourite regeneration in all of modern Doctor Who, and all of Doctor Who probably. The fact that it literally sums up Eccleston's character so well, because his whole thing, like I've mentioned, is he's fresh out of the Time War, but he needs to put on a brave face for Rose and the other people around him who need saving. And when he's dying, we've heard from the 10th Doctor that regeneration feels like dying. He's dying, but he still puts on a brave face and cracks jokes about dogs with no noses or him with two heads and stuff like that, and just to keep Rose at comfort whilst he dies. And that sums up the 9th Doctor so well. I love him to bits. And this brings me on to the thing of, we should have had more. Should we have had more? I don't know, comment below, do you want more of the Ninth Doctor, or do you think back then we should have had more? Because the more I think about it, the more I'm quite happy and content with what we've got. The first time I said goodbye to Christopher Eccleston, I felt really sad and was like, I wish he'd stayed on, but now, this isn't me saying he's bad, like I say, he's my joint favourite Doctor, but look at Series 2. Look at how that's received by people. They don't like the episodes in Series 2, they don't really like the arc of Series 2. And I think part of the reason why we love Eccleston so much is because he was there for such a short period of time. He was there for one series, and I think it was sort of a nice full circle moment for the series to end on a regeneration. And now I know it wasn't intended to be that way. I know there was some stuff that went on behind the scenes that we still don't really know about 20 years on, and we might never know about. But even if it wasn't intended, I think ending with a regeneration on that first series as a reintroduction was the right thing to do. And I think Chris leaving actually makes me like him more, because we've got more of we've got less of him, and less is more. So personally, I'm quite happy and content with what we've got. Would I be sat here mobbing and complaining if we got a Series 2 with Eccleston? Absolutely not. But am I annoyed he didn't get more? I might be annoyed for him. He missed out on quite a bit of money, but you know, he made the decision, from what we know, to leave. So I don't know. I don't know. I think in terms of the story and in terms of narrative, in terms of actors on a screen, I am content with the fact that we only got one series. But there's more behind it than what we know. So I'm not going to fully say that's exactly what I believe, just in case something comes out that isn't very nice. Anyway, Christopher Eccleston, happy birthday. You're not seeing this video, but, you know, happy birthday anyway. This video is dedicated to you on your special day. And thank you so much for watching, you guys at home. If you want to leave a comment and let me know, what do you think about the Ninth Doctor? Do you like him? Do you not like him? Do you wish we had more? Do you wish we didn't have more? Do you want him to come back? Who knows? And whilst you're at it, please leave a like and subscribe with the notification bell on. And there's a button, if you're on mobile, on the comments, near the comments, there's a hype button. There's a button that says hype. If you press that, it boosts my video out to loads more people, and that would mean the absolute world. Thank you very much for watching. Have a blessed rest of your day, and I'll see you later. Ta-ra.